be my grave without a name, that earth may swallow up my shame.
Let it begin.
Are we not men? No, we are not men. We are beasts, and you have made us beasts. We will not walk, we will not talk, we will not gather in the night. We will dress right, dress ready, run. And as a last resort, we will use cold blue steel and jab between the second and third ribs and twist. Ah! Bushmasters! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The 2.7 million people who wear our country's uniform, active, guard, and reserve, comprise the finest military in the history of the world. They stand ready to face down any threat, anytime, anywhere.
In the summer of 2005, I saw a documentary that was broadcast on the BBC. It had been made in Canada by Sarah Goodman and been funded by a Canadian broadcast company. It won Best Documentary. Quite frankly, the people that put this film together deserve more than just a Best Documentary prize. They deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, because this movie, its original title is Build Me Up, Build Me Down, showed in the aftermath of 9/11 that the Pentagon were basically taking in recruits, basically their children, and brainwashing them in these army camps and turning them into ill-equipped, immature killing machines.
Lopez, stop. Lopez, stop now. Did you say something, Lopez?
Now, at one point in this film, we see a sign saying infantry, and of course infant is a child. And we hear on the soundtrack this whole group of trainees shouting, "I want to kill somebody." How does that fit in with democracy? How is it democratic to use taxpayers' money to train children to shout at the tops of their voices, "I want to kill somebody"? That's not democratic. If they shout, "I want to defend somebody," yes, that's democratic. But "I want to kill somebody," that is demonic. Well, if you want to search for the Antichrist, I suggest you start at the Pentagon. Now, if you look at a satanic pentagram, every Masonic lodge and every Church of Satan somewhere in the building has a 5-pointed satanic pentagram. And if you look at the satanic pentagram, in the center of the pentagram, you see a pentagon. And the Pentagon building itself is a grandiose piece of occult architecture. And the United States, and indeed many cities around the world, are full of occult buildings. The Pentagon is orientated towards the north. This, traditionally in magic terms, is the point on the compass where the god of war, or the spirits of war, are invoked, at the north point of the compass. If you look at an aerial picture of the Pentagon, you'll see that it's a pentagon, inside a pentagon, inside a pentagon, inside a pentagon. And this is symbolic of the way secret societies set themselves up with an outer circle of members, and then you have the inner circle, and then you have the inner core. Washington, D.C. is a fascinating place to explore once you've learnt the signs and all the symbols of Freemasonry and satanic groups such as the OTO. What Washington, D.C. is fashioned after an Egyptian necropolis. And an Egyptian necropolis in the ancient era of Egypt, the Pharaonic dynasty of Egypt. An Egyptian necropolis is a temple for the dead. And what Washington, D.C. is a modern version of an ancient Egyptian temple for the dead, but this is now a temple of death. And if you want to look for satanic inspired architecture, look no further than the Washington Monument. It's proportioned after the giant obelisks of Egypt, and its height above ground is 555 feet. But it's anchored, obviously, into the ground just over 100 feet deep. The foundation runs 111 feet, about 20% of the height of the overall building above ground. If you add 20% onto 555, you end up with 666. The Washington Monument is 666 feet in totality. The other aspects of Washington, D.C. are typically Masonic. The small roads within the parklands surrounding the White House have been exposed by David Icke and many other authors as making up the shape of an owl, which is the symbol of Bohemian Grove in California, the Bohemian Club. An owl sitting on the top of a pyramid, and of course the pyramid is one of the symbols that was used by the Bavarian Illuminati. And the whole of Washington, D.C. is this modern temple for death. And the death management center is the Pentagon.
The Book of Revelation warns of an age of destruction, where planet Earth will be writhing in pain like a mother giving birth. The Book of Revelation prophesies the birth of the Antichrist, who will emerge to wield great political power across the planet. The plan of the Antichrist is very simple: famine, plague, war, total annihilation of all living creatures. There will not be just one Antichrist. The ancient texts of Islam warn us that the Antichrist, as foretold in the Quran, in which the Antichrist is called the Dajjal, will be assisted by many minor Antichrists. These minor Antichrists, or Dajjals, herald the era of the great Dajjal, the supreme Antichrist, the premier son of Satan, who will spread terror in the name of peace. Still, to this day, it is unclear who exactly wrote the Holy Bible. But in the Bible texts, we see that the Antichrist will seek to kill the coming second Messiah. This will be done, apparently, by mass killings of children around the world. Famine, pestilence, plague, and war will be used to kill thousands of children each day. In actual fact, before our very eyes, every day 26,000 children die from starvation and preventable diseases such as the common cold. Politicians are advancing a global plan, the plan of the Antichrist. This is the doctrine of Lucifer, which Freemasons, Knights Templar, and members of the Illuminati global network of secret societies follow. Their goal is the total spiritual and ecological destruction of the world. They use advanced technology to spy on and kill whoever gets in their way. The Illuminati is a global network of witch covens, black magicians, and Freemasons. They use a secret code of numbers and words to communicate the plan to one another. They hold rituals right in the heart of the British Parliament and Washington, D.C. The Illuminati have designed the United States as the headquarters for their barbarous plan to bring about the apocalyptic prophecies of the Antichrist. This film is the true story of the Luciferian elite, the true history of the ancient Illuminati, who have created a global fascist dictatorship. This is the true plan of those who serve the Antichrist. Once you have learnt the techniques used by the Illuminati-controlled media and understood the significance of their rituals, you will have the power to stop the Antichrist conspiracy.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322. Before we go, you and George Bush were both members of Skull and Bones, the secret society at Yale. The rule is, if someone mentions Skull and Bones, you walk out of the room. If you're both in a you're both in a presidential debate, and the moderator says Skull and Bones, do you both leave the podiums?
I doubt it.
You'll hang in there.
I think you'll see both of us have a terrific. You know, I'd love to have a debate with the president right now.
If this were a dictatorship, it'd be a heck of a lot easier. Just so long as I'm the dictator, 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 I'm the dictator.
This evilarchy does exist, and that the eye on the pyramid is the eye not only of Horus but the eye of Lucifer. And if you take a look at the symbology in London, you take a look at the Illuminati Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas, you take a look at structures all over the world, they have told us what they are doing. They have identified themselves. We are identifying the enemy. We have identified the enemy.